All right. Let's start off by saying Barakatah Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Racha Kodash. Let's welcome to another live lesson. The name of this one is No Matter How You Slice It, He's the Last Ruler. And pretty much this lesson came to inspiration of a video I was watching earlier on my walk, which is the Elder Bishop Menatazak's page here, Jacob Barak 2. And the the title of the video is The Lord's Gathering the Other Nations Against America. And pretty much, I don't know at what point the thought came to mind, but started thinking about Esau, started thinking about, you know, how these devils pretty much try to throw the scent from the trail off of themselves and paint everybody else on the planet as being Edomites, and they don't take any accountability. And now we understand why the Judite woman is the way she is, because that's her general. Or that's her master. He doesn't take accountability, neither does she. So we understand why. So they don't want to take accountability for the things that the Edomites have done to the planet. And they'll try to use that the Arabs are the Edomites, the Nabateans, which are also so-called Arabs, are the Edomites. They'll try to use the Hebrew word Adamawanya, which they pronounce Admoni, and Esau and King David being described as with the same Hebrew word. So how can Esau be the so-called white man and King David be so-called black man? And so on and so forth. All the bottom line is that same word was used, but in one instance, it was the word red appears there. In the other instance, the word ruddy appears there. And then there's a distinction between the word red and the word ruddy. Now, there is red in ruddy, but ruddy is a brown mixture or brown complexion with reddish tint to it, as to where red is just red. All right. But no matter how you slice it, when you go through the scriptures and the prophecies, it all lines up with what's going on today. And it tells us that the people that are ruling today are going to be the last rulers, and it identifies who these people are. So let's go real quick to the book of Second Ezra to start off, chapter 6. And we're going to read a couple of verses, start at 7. Because what Ezra wanted to know was he wanted to know when the end of the world was coming. So this is what the angel broke down to him. Second Ezra 6:7. Then answered I and said, what shall be the parting asunder of the times? Or when shall be the end of the first and the beginning of it that followeth? So what does this remind us of? This also reminds us of what the disciples asked Yahweh, what shall be the sign of thy coming and of the end of the world? Why? Because all of the prophets, the main question on their mind was, when is the end of the world going to come? Because they understood that once the Messiah came on the scene and suffered what he suffered, then the ruling empire would fall and be destroyed. So that's why they always inquired when Yahweh Shai was going to come on the scene, because they knew that after that the kingdom of heaven would come. This is why the disciples, once again, when Yahweh Shai was crucified and came back and was speaking to them, the first thing they asked him was, will thou at this time restore again the kingdom to Israel? You see? But it wasn't time back then, because there was still a lot of things in prophecy that had to be fulfilled, which haven't been, even to this day, all of the prophecies haven't been fulfilled. Most of them have. But you have some that are in the process right now are being fulfilled. But they haven't been fully fulfilled. All right? So he says, and he said unto me, from Abraham unto Isaac, when Jacob and Esau were born of him, Jacob's hand held first the heel of Esau. And the whole world revolves around the two main characters of Jacob and Esau. And that's why they're the um, main two, I guess, for lack of better words, characters in the scriptures. And I mean, the scriptures mention other nations, but the main two people of the scriptures is Jacob and Esau, or are Jacob and Esau. And that's the two main nations that the Most High is dealing with. On the right hand, Jacob; on the left hand, Esau. For Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning of it that followeth. So the scriptures tell us that the people that would be ruling at the very end would be the Edomites. All right, so Esau is the end of the world. When you look up this word world, it goes back to the Latin, Greek, and Hebrew, which means age. All right, in the Latin, it's seculi. In the Greek, it's eon. And in the Hebrew, it's iwulam. All right, which all mean age. So Esau is the end of the age, the very same age that Yahushua, or that the apostles or the disciples at the time asked Yahushua, what shall be the sign of thy coming and of the end of the world, or the end of the age? All right. So let's go from there to the book of Job, because it says that at the end of the world, Esau would be ruling. Let's go to Job chapter 9 and verse 24. It says, the earth is given into the hand of the wicked. When you give somebody something, it's in their possession. So right now, Esau, they are the landlords of the earth. All right. I believe there's something along those lines in the Apocrypha. I can't think of it right now. I believe might be in Ecclesiasticus, something along those lines. It could be Wisdom of Solomon. Salaki, I can't think of any other wording in there right now. But something along along the words of they being the rulers, or the so like the landlords, or the keepers of the earth at this time, because the earth was given into the hand of the wicked. The hand represents what? Power. So the earth was given into their power. Now let's go real quick to Micah, and it's heavy because me personally, through the Spirit, I haven't gone to the scripture in I don't know how long. This is one of the ones that was usually in rotation. I haven't gone to the scripture in a while. And the elder Bishop Menatazak mentioned it in his lesson here. He just mentioned it in passing. He just said Micah 2. I forget exactly what he said, but he meant, I said, oh, snap, we haven't gone into that scripture in a while. But Micah 2:1, woe to them that devise iniquity and work evil upon their beds. When the morning is light, they practice it, meaning they put it into use. Why? Because it is in the power of their hand. So they have the power in their hand to do this. Why? Because the earth is given into the hand of the wicked. Okay? Now, before we proceed further in this verse, because this verse right here says a whole lot. If the earth is given into the hand of the wicked, what we have to ask is, who is in control of the planet Earth? And if you're being honest, you will have to say the so-called white man all over the planet. This is why, and America is the top rulership, or the top empire. Why? Because anything on the planet has to be redirected and filtered through America. This is why, if you want to fly planes, as you hear Elder Pastor bringing out all the time, you have to do what? You have to know English. You have to speak English. The world is not following, a Japanese language, for aviation, or a Hamitic language for aviation, or East Indian. Everybody's following the English language. Why? Because America is the final empire, which is ruled by the Edomites. All right. So they have that power. So the earth is given into the hand of the wicked, right? So who are the wicked? And you will have to agree that it's the so-called white man. Now, when we go to the book of Mike, not Micah, Malachi, chapter 1, for those of you that are newer to this, when you read from the first verse down, this is directed at Esau. As you can see, it speaks about Esau quite a bit in this chapter, right? So verse 3 says, and I hated Esau and laid his mountains and his heritage waste for the dragons of the wilderness. Whereas Edom, which is what his name was changed to, because Esau means wasted away is he. Ishashwa or Ishah. It's a compound word, Ishash, which is wasted, and the wa at the end means he. Ishashwa, wasted away is he. Why did Isaac call him that? Because he did not have his full pigment, because he was different, all right, when he was born. Now you're not, when you go to the name Esau in the blue letter, they're going to tell you it means hairy. It does not mean hairy. The word Sha'ir or Seir, which is Mount Seir, that means hairy. All right, hairy. The name Esau is a compound word which means wasted away is he. If you go to the Ben Yehudi English dictionary, Hebrew English dictionary, you will find in there, when you go into the Hebrew portion of it and you look up the word Ishash, and you'll see that it says wasted. And then the Y at the end is he. All right. So you'll see Ishash, which means wasted. So Ishah, which is a shortened form, is Ishashwa. Now, I don't remember if you can find the name Ishash in here. Okay, what is that? H6215. Just bear with me. See, Ishash, Ishash, to waste away, fail. Okay. So when you look at the name Esau, his name is Ishah because they have a wa at the end, Ishah or Esau, Ishash wa. Okay. So to waste away, fail. And if you go to the Ben Yehudi, you could also find it. So it is in here, but it's not going to link it with Esau. Because what was wasted away on him? What was wasted away on him was his pigment. All right. Now, why was his pigment wasted away? Because the Lord stripped him of that color, because that was an identifying factor in the wicked, which goes back to Cain also. But then remember, Cain and his descendants were destroyed by the flood. So Cain came back through the line of Esau. And we believe that through the spirit, because they have the same spirit on them. All right, to waste away, fail. So now you see Ishash or Ishashwa means wasted away is he. All right. All right, so let's go back to Joe. Not Job. What was it? Oh, yes, Malachi chapter 1. So it says, whereas Edom, now Edom, on the other hand, comes from the Hebrew word adawam, which means red. Okay, and they are red. When you smack them, they turn red. When they get embarrassed, they turn red. If they laugh too hard, they turn red. If they get mad, they turn red. All right, that's why they call themselves rednecks. Even though a lot of those rednecks, are Jakes, even though they are staunchly racist, but some of them are Jakes. And that's going to piss off a lot of individuals out there. But hey, we got to tell the truth. Malachi 1 and 4. Whereas Edom says, we are impoverished, but we will return and build the desolate places. Right. And nowhere in the scriptures does it identify the Japhetic people with building anything like skyscrapers or anything like that. Now, did they have buildings that they erected and all that? Of course. Did they have temples to their gods and all that? Oh, yeah. But nowhere does it say they would build, especially high rises. And the history of high rises goes back to Chicago. You know, I was just in Chicago this past weekend, so I know, and I've been there before. Many times. So the first high rise building or the skyscraper was in. Oh, Shalom. Yeah, but I was about to say, what the hell is going on here? That's cool. That's Elder Dimash. And that was the first time that a high rise building was put on the planet, which was an insurance company that was 10 stories high. All right, that was considered the tallest building at the time, and then from there it just kept growing and growing and growing, and now it's all over the world. All right, thus saith the Lord of hosts, they shall build, but I will throw down, because the Lord is going to eventually throw this place down. All right, he's going to destroy America, Babylon the Great, and he's also going to destroy the land of Israel. Now, I was watching Mike Adams, the health ranger. He had a video up on his podcast, Brighteon, and pretty much the name of the video is, this was dated August 2, 2024. It says, why the world despises the violence and terror of Israeli, UK, and US governments. And pretty much I had did a lesson on that before, maybe about a week and a half ago, and I believe I posted that in the description box. And pretty much, he was speaking about the small hats and how people don't like them, because all the terror and and the murders and just everything in general that they're doing. But he's he's under that Christian vibe, and he wants to bring peace to the world, and there ain't going to be no peace. America's going to be. And the guy that he was highlighting and speaking. He was like using certain clips of this one individual. I forget the guy's name, and he was pretty much saying that the land over there, the land of the small hats needs to be wiped out, and it will. And then Mike Adams was saying how he was comparing. He said not all them small hats, but the ones that are doing all this murder, the Zio to the innocents, y'all put it together, Zion, he was comparing that to a bad friend that he had in the world, right? He said, had a bad friend, he was close with his friend, but he said, his friend was into doing drugs and doing this, that, and the other thefts and stealing cars and all that shit or whatever. And he said he had to break away from that friend because eventually that friend would have got him caught up in all that shit. So he likened his friend to, the small hats, and he said the small hats, will get you involved and caught up in a situation, that you don't want to be in. And he spoke about America, and he used that same analogy, and pretty much I thought about surely the least of the flock will draw them out, because the small hats, they're going to be the ones that's going to draw America into this war with Russia and Russia's allies. All right, so it's gonna take them out. All right, so it says, and they shall call them the border of wickedness. See, so who are the wicked? The Edomites. You have wicked among the nations, you have wicked among Israelites, but the small hats or the Edomites are the wicked on the planet Earth. They are the sons and daughters of Satan. Okay, it says, and the people against whom the Lord hath indignation forever, because we heard the argument, well, God don't hate all so-called white people. It's just Esau, the personal man. No, he said the people against whom the Lord has indignation, which is righteous anger forever. And above it, he said he hates Esau. And that means hate, straight up. So the wicked are the Edomites. The scriptures describe the earth being given into the hand of the wicked, which we just identified as being the Edomites. So the Edomites are the wicked. The Edomites are ruling the world. The Edomites will be the last rulers on the planet. Then it gives us another hint in Job 9:24. He covers the faces of the judges thereof. Who are the judges? Beginning with the Most High, Yahushua, his son, who the world ignorantly calls Jesus, the angels, the Israelites. So how did he cover their faces? By putting up his face. Because if you go, we've done this many times, if you go to YouTube, I'm sorry, not YouTube, Google, or wherever you go, and you type in God, right? Then you go to images. What you gonna get? Pictures of a white person, so-called white man, posing as God, posing as the Most High. See? Look at that. Now, if you go and you type in, Jesus, so-called Jesus, what are you gonna get? Pictures of a so-called white man. So whose face is up as being the ultimate judges of the planet? Esau, the so-called white man's face. So he is, they are the Edomites. They are the wicked. All right. If you type in, let's see if you type in angels, what comes up. There you go. White people. See? And this is why the scriptures say, let's go real quick to Revelation chapter 13 and verse 1. And I stood upon the sand of the sea. This is the Apostle John speaking. He was on the island of Patmos and saw a beast rise up out of the sea. And that's the Mediterranean Sea, having 7 heads and 10 horns, and upon his horns 10 crowns, which is a representation of the 7 major empires of the Edomites. And the 10 horns represents EU. And upon his heads, what? The name of blasphemy. Because they call themselves Christians. They call themselves the Most High. They call themselves Yahushua or Jesus. They call themselves the angels. They call themselves the Israelites. That's blasphemy. All right? That's blasphemy. Straight up blasphemy. Just bear with me right quick. Salakia. All right, so going back to Job 9:24. The earth is given into the hand of the wicked. He covered the faces of the judges thereof. If not, where and who is he? So if the so-called white man didn't do this, where and who is he? Because you're not gonna find an East Indian image across the world of the Most High, of Yahushai, of the angel, so on and so forth. You're not going to find an Arabic one. You're not going to find a Hamitic one. You're not going to find an East Indian one. You're not going to find any other race of people, no nation of people on the planet, except for this devil. You type in Sistine Chapel, right? Ceiling. What are you going to get? You're going to get fruit. Bad kind of fruit. Let me see if I get a better one. Oh man, give me something better. Here we go. See that? That's supposed to be the Most High in a pink tutu, and that's supposed to be Adam. Posing, two gay lords. You know? This is madness. This is blasphemy. But this is what the scriptures speak about. Names of blasphemy and just blasphemy in general. All right. So they did that. Who did this? Esau did this. The so-called white man did this. So the scriptures identify them as being the future rulers, and that the earth will be given into their hands. As scriptures also identify them as being the wicked. All right. So no matter what, no matter how you slice it, the E's are the final rulers. They would be the rulers at the very end of the world. And this is who the Lord is coming to visit. Let's go from there to Isaiah chapter 34. And even scholars will tell you, we've read this many times in this compact Bible dictionary, the Zondervan's compact Bible dictionary, which vocab and the apologists hate. But then they'll say that it's the beloved Zondervan's Bible dictionary. No, it ain't beloved. It's just that there's certain things in there that are correct, that are on point. Do they go off? Of course they go off. But the point is that they're correct on certain points. I'm trying to see if I believe there's one in here somewhere. Let me see. This is a pictorial one. I don't know if it's going to be in this one, but just bear with me. Edomites. Right. It says Edom. This is on this particular one. This is page 234. Edom figures prominently in the prophetic scriptures as the scene of great future judgments. What's future judgments? Things in the future. Right? See notably Isaiah 34, 5 and 6, and Isaiah 63 and 1. She is the only neighbor of the Israelites who was not given any promise of mercy from the Most High. So they know this. All right? They know this. And they gave you scriptures. So this is not something that we wrote or put together. This is not something that we petitioned for. This is not something that we paid them to put in the books, because them things were written in there. This particular one was written this one between 1995 and 1998. Then you had others that were written before that. So we didn't pay them. We didn't twist their arm to do that. They put that in there. They did that. Okay, inside joke. Isaiah 34:1. Come near, ye nations, to hear, and hearken, ye people. Let the earth hear, and all that is therein, the world and all things that come forth of it. Right. So this message is to the nations, because we are prophets to the nations, not just to the nation of Israel. This is for those of you, newer members that may not know. Jeremiah 1 and 5. Excuse me. Before I formed thee in the belly, I knew thee, and before thou camest forth out of the womb, I sanctified thee, and I ordained thee a prophet unto what? Unto the nations. So not only are we prophets to the nation of Israel, but we're also prophets to the nations. Now, what are we supposed to tell these nations? Let's go real quick in the same book, Jeremiah 28 and verse 8. The prophets that have been before me and before thee of old prophesied both against many countries. Matter of fact, another one came to mind. Let me just get that real quick before I forget it. Let me read it again. Jeremiah 28:8. The prophets that have been before me and before thee of old prophesied both against many countries and against great kingdoms of war and of evil and of pestilence. So this is what we're supposed to be telling the nation. And what else are we supposed to tell them? What their future is. And what is the future of the nations? It's going to be slavery. After this, after Yahushua comes back and this cesspool of a kingdom is destroyed on the planet, the nations' kingdoms are destroyed on the planet, then Yahushua is going to establish his kingdom on the planet. And then we're going to go and put all of these different nations in captivity. And then at the very end, which in that Zondervan's Bible Dictionary, they should have put Obadiah in there. At the very end, after they serve their slavery, we're going to round up every last Edomite and burn them up. A great bonfire and good riddance to the wicked. What the Lord's going to do with their spirit, we don't know. We'll find out in the kingdom. All right. So going back to Isaiah, that's what we're supposed to be teaching these nations. For the indignation of the Lord, which is his righteous anger, is against all nations, and his fury is upon all their armies. See? So that's why the Lord is gathering all these nations over there. And Mike Adams, once again, he called America, right? He said these nations, pretty much he called America the nuclear bully. Something along those lines, a nuclear bully. But now that because I thought also about how the nations have the weapon and how the scriptures say, how thou also become weak as we, because now the Lord has allowed these nations to receive the same technology to where America can't just puff at people, at these nations like they used to. It says he had utterly destroyed them. Yeah, because that's what he's coming to do. This is what that battle in heaven is, with Michael and his archangels and the devil and his archangels. That's Esau and his militaries fighting, and their jets, missiles, whatever they got, fighting against Yahushua, Michael the archangel, and the other angels, and they're going to get obliterated. Also the nations too, because the nations' armies, they're going to be there fighting against each other. Then all of a sudden everybody's going to turn that Ronald Reagan speech and fight against these so-called alien forces, which is Yahushua and the angels, and they're going to get obliterated. It says he has delivered them to the slaughter. But that's exactly what they're going to get, slaughtered. Their slain also shall be cast out, and their stink shall come up out of the carcasses, and the mountains shall be melted with their blood. Right. And that's why the very first job that these international banking families are going to have is to, find, some of them are going to find dead bodies and put, signs next to them, and the next crop is going to come through and bury those dead bodies. All right. That's going to be your very first job as a slave. And all the hosts of heaven shall be dissolved. How are the hosts of heaven going to be dissolved? Meaning when the Lord destroys this place, the nuclear missiles are going to cause this to happen. All right. And the heavens shall be rolled together as a scroll. That's what they call a mushroom cloud. When you type in mushroom cloud, right? There you go. It looks like a scroll being rolled together. See that? Look under there. You type in scrolls, rolled scroll. See that? See how the scroll is rolled up? Well, that's how the mushroom clouds are. See that right there? Now look at the mushroom cloud. It looks like a scroll being rolled together. And that was the best description that the prophets had to give to to describe this horrible vision. He said that the heavens rolled together as a scroll. And all the hosts of heaven shall be dissolved, because you're going to have all these different planes and helicopters and missiles and drones and all that. They're all going to get caught up in that. And the heavens shall be rolled together as a scroll, and all the hosts shall fall down. And that's why it says, and their place was found no more in heaven. Because then once they come down and fall, they're not going to fly back up there unless you punt them up there. As the leaf falleth off from the vine, and as a falling fig tree from the fig, as a falling fig from the fig tree, right? And if you've heard Elder Apostle Tar describe that like a fig falling in an arch type fashion, and that's how the missiles. If you look at the missiles, they're shot out of the silo. They'll fly up, to a certain point, and then they'll detach from the different, sections of that missile until it's just a warhead, and it's gonna go up and come down like an arch or like an arc in an arcing fashion. It says, "For my sword shall be bathed in heaven." When Yahushua comes back, his sword is going to be bathed in heaven. You can read 2nd Ezra chapter 13. It gives you a blow by blow of how Yahushua is coming back to fight against, Esau, the nations and their militaries. And how he's just going to, out of this innumerable multitude, is going to be nothing but smell of smoke, dust and smell of smoke. "Behold, it shall come down upon who? Idumea." Now you notice here they got the word Idumea. Now those of you may not know that are newer, the name Idumea is synonymous with Edom, but they just left it in the Greek form here. Because one thing they know is that the Esau and the Edomites, they are the arch enemies of the Lord, and they are the arch enemies of us, the Israelites. This is why they came to that conclusion, that they were the only nation that was not promised any form of mercy from the Most High. You see? So when you go to this word Idumea, is the same word as Edom, which goes back to the Hebrew word Adawam, which means red. "And upon the people of my curse, because they are cursed to judgment." And what is the curse? They have leprosy. Now, you have Israelites out there that have leprosy, whether it's clean or unclean. You have white-looking people out there that look like Edomites, but are actually Israelites. Just like you have white-looking people or Edomite-looking people that are Hamites and Ishmaelites and all different nations. So there's a big hodgepodge of confusion out there. This is why the Lord is going to send his angels to sift out the Israelites from the non-Israelites. And one of the sifting process, the starting sifting process, is what? The word of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. Because we're accused of having Edomites in our camps, and we don't have no Edomites in our camps. Because the Lord is doing the sifting of the nations, he's doing the sifting from the nations by the word, by his words. That's why it says the Spirit beareth witness with our spirit. What spirit? The word beareth witness with our spirit that we are the sons of the living power. Okay? So that's what's doing the great sifting, the word. And then at the end, the angels are going to come and separate the wheat from the tares. All right? The wheat being the Israelites, and the ones that look like Israelites and the ones that don't look like Israelites. And then the tares are pretty much the ones that look like Israelites. Like you'll have, Edomites, and you even have other nations that have laid down with the Israelite woman, and some of the babies came out looking like Jake, but they're not. It all depends on who the father is, unless their father's line goes back to an Israelite. So there's a whole lot of confusion there for you to try to sort out and pick out who's the Israelite and who's not. The Lord is going to set that straight when the time comes. It says, the sword of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai is filled with blood. It is made fat with fatness and with the blood of lambs and goats, which is what? These different military men. With the fat of the kidneys of rams. For the Lord had the sacrifice in Bozrah. Now, Bozrah was one of the top cities of Esau, which Bozrah today represents America. All right. We even had a movie, I forget what it was called, the something of all of things, things to come, or something like that, back in the 1930s, and they kept mentioning from time to time in that movie Bozrah, all right, because that is a code name for America. Also Edom, also Babylon the Great, also Egypt, also Sodom, also Nineveh, so on and so forth. And a great slaughter in the land of Idumea, once again, the Edomites. All right. So the Lord is going to take this place out. And, Esau is identified as not only being the last rulers, but also being the rulers that will be destroyed. And after they're destroyed, they're going to go into captivity, slavery. Bottom line. And Yahushua is going to be the one that's going to set it off. But once the Lord allows him to come up off that throne and come down here and get these devils. Isaiah 63:1. That's why it says, what is that? Psalms 110. And 1. Yahweh said unto my Lord Yahushai, sit thou at my right hand until I make thine enemies thy footstool. You see? Shalakia. So Yahushai is sitting at the right hand of the Lord right now, about to raise up off of that, throne. If you go to my channel, to the front page, there's a video on there. I'm not sure if that's the video you're speaking about Jeffrey Freeman. If you go to my page, the front page, there's a video there that was put up by the elder Bishop Sakaran, where he'll direct you where to send the stuff. I'm not sure if that's what you're speaking about, but if anybody can help the brother out, So Yahushua is sitting on the right hand of Yahweh until the Lord says to Yahweh says, okay, now you could go down there and do what you got to do. And this is what he's going to do. He's going to come and do business. The water, bro. The water. It says, Isaiah 63:1. Who is this that cometh from Edom with dyed garments from Bozrah? It says, this that is glorious in his apparel, traveling in the greatness of his strength, because he's not coming. He said he will not meet thee as a man. I that speak in righteousness, mighty to save. And that's Yahushai. And even David Guzik had to agree with that this is talking about Yahushai, because people had questioned him about the scripture. And he agreed that this is dealing with Yahushai, But he said something along the lines that he doesn't buy into that, or so, I forget exactly how he worded it. But it don't matter what you buy into or not. It's what's written. That's why Yahushua said, he that believeth on me, as the scriptures have said, out of his belly shall flow rivers of living water. And one thing about these devils, they're not spiritual at all. So it says, wherefore art thou red in thine apparel, and thy garments like him that treadeth in the wine fat? In other words, he's gonna get the credit for destroying Esau. All right, we're just dealing with Esau in particular, because that's how he's coming to take this devil out. All right, it says, I have trodden the winepress alone, and of the people there was none with me. Right, because he's coming in his angelic power. We're going to be here on the earth, waiting to be delivered. While in the midst of all of this. For I will tread them in mine anger and trample them in my fury. So you got to remember, when Yahushua comes back, he said he's gonna be like a lion. The Lord, the Most High Yahweh said, What if the Lord willing to make his power known, endure with much long suffering the vessels of wrath fitted for destruction? So when he lets Yahushua loose, Yahushua ain't gonna hold back. They're gonna feel the power and the totality of his fury and of his power coming down upon Esau. And their blood shall be sprinkled upon my garments, and I will stain all my raiment. No, he's not gonna actually have blood on his garments. Pretty much what that means is it's gonna be credited to him as being the destroyer of Esau. It says, "For the day of vengeance is in my heart." He's been waiting for this for 2,000 years. And the year of my redeemed is come. So he's waiting to tear this devil up and to deliver his elect. All right. And I looked, and there was none to help, and I wondered that there was none to uphold. Therefore, mine own arm, which is Yahushua, brought salvation unto me, and my fury it upheld me. I will tread down the people in mine anger, Esau, and make them drunk in my fury, and I will bring down their strength to the earth, because right now they're strong. Hey, did not the scripture say in Revelation 13 once again, which that's a heavy chapter. There's a lot in this chapter. Revelation 13:4. And they worship the dragon, which gave power unto the beast, because that goes into the Roman Empire, which America is the revival of the Roman Empire. And they worship the beast, saying, "Who is like unto the beast, who was able to make war with him?" Right, and that's why the Lord said he's going to be the one that takes him down. Another one just came to mind. Psalms chapter 60. And just bear with me because I want to read that again. Isaiah 63:6. And I will tread down the people in mine anger and make them drunk in my fury, and I will bring down their strength to the earth, because they have that power through their sword, which is the blessing that Isaac gave them to rule the earth with the sword. So in Revelation 13:4, and they worship the dragon, which gave power unto the beast, and they worship the beast, saying, "Who is like unto the beast, who was able to make war with him?" Because of their power, that's why the Lord has to come back and take them down. Psalm 60:9. Who will lead me into the strong city? This is King David. Who will lead me into Edom? Now, this wasn't talking about, back then, because back then when Esau was on the planet, back then during the time of King David, Joab, they were kicking Esau's ass. Let me see. Just bear with me. It appears 82 times the name Edom. Okay, so it was. Yeah, this is 1 Kings 11:14. And Yahweh stirred up an adversary unto Solomon, Hadad the Edomite. He was of the king's seed in Edom. For it came to pass when David was in Edom, and Joab, the captain of the host, was gone up to bury the slain after he had smitten every male in Edom. So obviously, it says, for 6 months did Joab remain there with all Israel until he had cut off every male in Edom. So obviously, this ain't talking about back then, because they were destroying Esau back then. So Esau wasn't as strong as they are today, because the Lord gave them that sword. That's why they were able to take peace from the earth. Psalm 60:9. Who will bring me into the strong city? Who will lead me into Edom? Let's talk about now, because they have that power. Who is able to make war with the beast? Will not thou, O Most High, which has cast us off, and thou, O power, which didst not go out with our armies? It says, give us help from trouble, for vain is the help of man. Through the Most High we shall do valiantly, for he it is that shall tread down our enemies. And that's what we're waiting for. That's Isaiah 63. When Yahweh comes back to take these devils down. So no matter how much you slice it or how you slice it, they are the final rulers. All right? The Edomites are the final rulers. We read all kind of scriptures on it. But these devils, really the Nabateans are the... No. The Nabateans that ain't ruling shit. They ain't ruling the whole entire planet. They just in that region over there, ruling that region. They're not ruling the entire planet Earth. The world ain't speaking their language. The world ain't following their tenets, or following their orders or their marching orders. The world is following Esau, the so-called white man's, the American empire's, marching orders. And now they're starting to rebel because, they're finding other ways. But nevertheless, for a long period of time, the world's still following after America, because they still, if they were that against America, they would not send their goods over here to be sold. But they know that there's still money to be made over here. All right, in America. That's why they still deal with America. All right, but as a whole, it hasn't changed. The aviation, the people flying in the air today are not, speaking Arabic or Sanskrit or any Hamitic language or Chinese, Japanese, Mandarin, or any of them other languages. They're speaking English. Okay, English. All right. So with that, I pray that you brothers and few sisters have been edified. To the next time I say, Shalom.